with them, but I think we'll see better from come the second half of the season.
OK, it's been a pretty difficult start to life as West Bromwich Albion manager for Alan Pardew. 3 defeats, 2 draws. Today he comes up against Sam Allardyce, who certainly had a big impact on Everton.
We haven't won a game, so need to make some changes and try and find a winning formula. We did a lot of good things at Stoke. Unfortunately, we conceded some poor goals, so try and stop them today, and when we're going forward, offer a threat where we get more than 1 goal. So a clean sheet and a couple of goals is the tonic, really, but easier said than done.
We are to focus and concentrate on the strengths of West Brom today and try and nullify those strengths, and then obviously with the lack of results, eventually the nerves may kick in. So you know, we've got to keep a nice tight game and frustrate West Brom, and in possession we've got to try and create some problems and cause them some problems. And I think we've got, hopefully the shape of the team and the personnel we've got will do that today.
We'll talk about Big Sam's impact in just a moment, but West Bromwich Albion start the day 19th in the table, 1 point off the bottom. And John, a club you played at, a club you know very well, and to ask you whether they did the right thing in getting Tony Pulis feels slightly old. So we'll talk about the impact that Alan Pardew has had. 0.
Well, 0. Alan Pardew has only won 1 Premier League game out of his last 16. So that's going back to Crystal Palace in his previous job. So you have to... I don't know Alan Pardew. It's nothing personal. I'm just going on stats, yep. You know, fact, if you like. And when you're thinking about a team fighting relegation, is he your man to go in there and keep clean sheets? He said himself he wants to bring more entertaining football to West Brom. They don't want entertaining football. They want to keep clean sheets and they want wins. He's not won a game yet at West Brom, so he needs to get his team going.
Have you seen a different type of West Bromwich Albion, Leon?
No, not really.
I knew that was coming.
No, not really. I mean, he was brought in to bring a more expansive style of football, but, you know, to do that first, you need to make sure you get the team confident, you get them playing, and at the moment, with them continuing to lose games, they've got no confidence.
However, West Bromwich Albion fans must be looking at what's happening at Goodison and thinking, well, maybe we got the wrong guy. Maybe we should have acted quicker and got Sam Allardyce in, because the impact he's had on your former club has just been terrific. That's
been phenomenal. You know, he's came in, he's brought a great confidence. Just speaking of confidence there, he's brought a confidence to the players at Everton. He's got players who had conceded 28 goals in 14 games. They've now conceded 2 goals in 5 games. And, you know, it's been such a big turnaround within the walls of Goodison Park. But it's great to see. But the Sam Allardyce factor's working again, and that's why he keeps getting employed in these top jobs. But
he's also done something with the players as well, John, because the players who were so ineffective under Ronald Koeman suddenly look like different footballers.
Maybe they just took their eye off the ball. Maybe they got a bit complacent under Ronald Koeman. What Sam Allardyce does, he goes into a club and he reminds players of their duties under no circumstances. If you're not up to it, if you don't start playing better and be the player that we know you can be, I'll get rid of you and I'll bring other players in. That's what he's done at Everton. He's given it a really big shake-up, and they've been on a great run. 5 games, won 3, drawn 2.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. One big game at the bottom, 1 point separating David Moyes' West Ham United in 17th from Eddie Howe's Bournemouth in 18th.
Well, I think you look at the run of fixtures that we had, especially where they were played as well. I don't think you get more difficult in the division. So, yes, we're aware that it was a tough spell. We're pleased to have come through that, but there's no guarantees in this division that you come out of a tough run of fixtures and anything gets easier. It's going to be down to us to make sure that that happens.
You know, we've told the players that we didn't enjoy the last performance, that's for sure, and we're hopefully going to get it right today.
Does it feel a little bit more pressure this game now, bearing in mind where both sides are?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, you know, we found ourselves out of the bottom 3 maybe 4 or 5 days ago, but it can quickly change, and I think it looks like the bottom half of the table, it's going to be like that till the end of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight, isn't it, at the bottom? This is a huge one, this afternoon. Difficult run of games against Manchester City, Liverpool and Manchester United. Bournemouth need to take points against the likes of West Ham United. But a lot of people are saying that maybe this is the year, Leon, the Bournemouth drop out of the Premier League.
I think it could be. You know, they're looking a little bit blunt up front. You know, Defoe's now injured for a few months. Wilson's not scoring. He scores in bursts. And they're not scoring the goals that they should be. And at the opposite end, they always seem liable to concede goals. And they can be so open and expansive in their play sometimes that they always you know, bring on mistakes and get them done on the counter-attack. So, you know, whether Eddie Howe continues to play the style of football he wants or goes to the style of tightening it up, let's keep clean sheets and let's grind a win out, because I'm not sure Eddie Howe would prefer to do that. Did
you think that they'd made two very good signings? Obviously, Nathan Ake was there last season anyway. That was made permanent. Asmir Begovic as well, making saves, because Artur Boruc perhaps responsible for a few goals conceded last season.
Two great signings. I thought Nathan Ake did very well in his original loan spell, went back to Chelsea. They've got him now on a permanent. Begovic, for me, is one of the outstanding goalkeepers in the Premier League. He's up there in the top 5 or 6 keepers. I liked Artur Boruc. I played with Artur at Celtic.
Of course you did.
But, you know, in terms of West Ham as well, West Ham, too inconsistent for me. Too inconsistent. Arnautovic, yes, 3 goals in the 4 games that he's played under Moyes. You just think of West Ham, you think 7 points out of a possible 24 for West Ham. That doesn't seem that much. But what he has got, David Moyes, he's got the lads going, he's got them showing a better attitude. Their attitude was brought into question by a lot of the supporters, and they're having a real go now for David Moyes. But 7 points out of 24, not a great record. I
think West Ham, David Moyes had a terrible start. I think they turned things around in the games against City, Chelsea, Arsenal. Yeah. But the inconsistency, when you're down there, the inconsistency is sometimes what really hurts you. And the goals they conceded against Newcastle the other day were mistakes. David Moyes, as a manager, it's tough to legislate for that, but you know, he'll be in there today, cut them mistakes out, get back to the way we were playing in the last few weeks, because I think we've all seen a real lift out of them.
Yep, just got time to talk about Stoke City. They travel to Huddersfield Town with Mark Hughes' side looking to build on Saturday's win over West Brom.
They've got a great crowd here and they generate a lot of atmosphere, and we know ourselves the importance of the home crowd behind you. We've had the benefit of that for many, many years. So it'll be difficult. They've had some good results of late as well against good teams, so they'll test us. But we're in comfortable mood. Like I said, our results haven't really backed up the way we performed in the majority of games. So we hopefully can put on another good performance today.
Well, John, you know Mark Hughes very well. How will he have been dealing with what he's been through over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think he'd been felt a little bit disappointed with the reaction of his own.
Well, he'd been hurt by some of the comments.
A little bit, yeah, of course. He's a human being, you know. He's a tough man. He's got broad shoulders. He can deal with most things. But I think when you feel the volume of support that is against him at Stoke, I think Mark tried to say a couple of weeks ago, well, it wasn't the actual fans that are in the ground. It was the fans in the surrounding areas. But no, he'll feel as if he's not being appreciated for the job he's doing. Now, I just feel, I think in the previous three Premier League seasons, I think they were 9th, 9th, 9th. And last season, I believe they were 14th. So where can Mark Hughes improve in terms of where they can finish? Can they get into the top 6? Have they got the financial clout to push up against the teams of a Liverpool or an Everton or an Arsenal? These type of sides will decide 4th, 5th and 6th.
I think the fans were a bit worried though, weren't they? Because anybody from, when you look at the table right now, you know, anybody from Huddersfield Town could possibly get dragged into the relegation dogfight. And what Stoke City fans were saying is, we don't want to be part of that dogfight now. So maybe we need to make a change.
This is when he needs a little bit of a rallying behind him.
I think what he needs to do first is stop the goals they conceded. They've conceded the most goals out of any team in the Premier League, and you know, if you're gonna start making up the league, you need to cut that out.
OK, we're going to move away from the Premier League very briefly. Just one match today in the Scottish Premiership, which is already finished. Leaders Celtic beating Dundee by 2-0. And in the Championship, the leaders Wolves are 2-2 at Millwall. They're in injury time there. As soon as that finishes, we'll bring it to you. So we're minutes away from the 3 o'clock kickoffs up and down the country, and the Premier League teams are in the tunnels for the great Boxing Day fixtures. And it's 2nd against 7th at Old Trafford. Will Manchester United return to winning ways against Burnley? Damien Johnson is there.
Well, United are smarting after the League Cup exit at Bristol City. 2 points dropped at Leicester, and what Jose Mourinho claims is an unfavourable fixture schedule. But Burnley are having the Premier League season of their lives and continue to threaten the established order. Can they add to United's Christmas woes?
Third place, Chelsea have won their last 5 Premier League games at Stamford Bridge. Can they make it 6 against Brighton and Hove Albion? Chris Wise.
Well, they have the firepower of the returning Morata to call upon, though despite that run of results here, the defending champions now an enormous 16 points behind the leaders Manchester City. For Brighton, they've got more significant games on the horizon in terms of maintaining their own top-flight status, so that is perhaps reflected in Chris Hughton's selection today.
As for West Bromwich Albion, they start the day second from bottom. Alan Pardew still looking, as we discussed, for a first win as manager. They take on Everton. Robin Cowan.
Yes, the new manager bounce still yet to emerge for West Brom. Just 2 points collected from a possible 15 under Alan Pardew in a winless run stretching back to a club record 17 games. Everton's managerial change has had the desired effect. 11 points from 5 league games under Big Sam. He's lifted Everton to 9th in the table, and they've been handed an extra boost with the return of Yannick Bolasie, who starts today for his first action 386 days after he was injured.
And a win at Huddersfield Town would surely end speculation about Mark Hughes' future at Stoke City manager, for the time being at least, Ivan Gaskell.
Well, after their pressure-relieving result at the weekend, Stoke in general and their manager Mark Hughes in particular could do with another against a Huddersfield side who've confounded all expectations in 2017. Now the question is, can they go and do so again in 2018?
What a game at the bottom. Bournemouth will move out of the bottom 3 and at West Ham's expense if they can beat the Hammers. But to do that, they have to score, Tony Husband.
That's right, perhaps Callum Wilson's the man to do it. His hat-trick gave Bournemouth their first ever win in the top flight. Heady days, but the grim reality for Bournemouth as they kick off is they're in the bottom 3 at Christmas. West Ham have seen seeds of a revival under David Moyes, but not a lot more.
After a good start of the season, Watford have now lost 5 out of 6. Leicester City are the visitors to Vicarage Road. Mike Williams.
And Claude Puel's side have been good tourists of late. Leicester are unbeaten in 7 on the road, so will be a real test for Watford, who haven't won, as you say, in over a month. They have top scorer Abdoulaye Doucouré back from suspension today, though, and hand a debut to the former Leicester loanee Mola Wago. There's a new face for the visitors as well, after Daniel Amarty's red card on Saturday. On-loan defender Alexander Dragovic makes his Premier League debut.
So we're all set. We'll go around the EFL grounds very, very shortly. But, Leon, is it too simplistic to say that Marco Silva's biggest problem right now was getting linked with the Everton job?
Yes, I think that's too simple. I think, you know, I was concerned as an Everton fan, you know, Marco Silva link with the fact that he hadn't had the greatest experience. He only won 11 Premier League games. So, you know, at times you're going to come against tough periods. They're in that now. They need to turn it round quick. I think he's had 1 win in 6 or 1 point out of 6 games, and it's not great fun.
They've got a terrible disciplinary record as well, haven't they, John? Well,
they have, and that starts at the top. That starts with the manager straight away. He has to get on top of that. They have got it's disgraceful. Some of the sending-offs have been shocking. No need for them. But I think Marco Silva being linked with the Everton job, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
You know, he can be linked with any other... maybe it's not affecting him, but it's certainly affecting the players, I feel.
Yeah. Do you think that's over? Do you think that Everton ultimately will get their man? What are you hearing, Leon?
Well, I think they're quite happy with their man at the moment, whether that's...
Yeah, but I'm talking long term. Seeing as we've got you in the studio, we may as well get some inside information.
For Marco Silva...
Yeah, but Sam Allardyce is not the long-term appointment, is he?
Well, you don't actually know that. I mean, if Sam Allardyce was to get Everton finishing in the top 6 this year, won a trophy, I don't see why he wouldn't be.
Why would you get rid of Sam Allardyce? He's the England manager a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the best managers in the country.
Yeah. What are you saying? Are you saying that Sam Allardyce then, John, is the long-term appointment for Everton Football Club? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you'd be hard pushed to find an Everton fan. Yeah. Right now, Leon knows Everton a lot more than I do.
You sit next to
find an Everton fan. If Sam Allardyce pushes them on to that top 6,
absolutely,
that'll want Sam Allardyce not to stay longer.
The concern is the style of football, you know, that Sam Allardyce has been branded with. And in the first 5 games that he's had, the football hasn't been great. Results have been great.
Kept 3 clean sheets.
No, absolutely.
But, you know, if that gets turned round after Christmas when he brings his own players in, who knows?
Right, I'll come back to this question. I'll get an answer out of you.
You can.
Right, let's go to Damian Johnson, goal.
A dramatic start at Old Trafford because the visitors Burnley lead by a goal to 0. It was Ashley Barnes who turned it in. They won a free kick on the edge of the box, floated in by Johan Berg Gudmundsson. Bit of a scramble in the area. Barnes reacted first and Burnley lead 1-0.
Wow, what a goal. What a start.
It's terrible defending. It's awful defending. It bounces on the 6-yard line. in the Manchester United goal. Nobody fails to put their head on it. Nobody clears it. And it's Ashley Barnes comes through a pile of bodies and he just pokes it in the Man United net. It's shocking defending. Lukaku actually, he's got the ball, he's judging it, and he's missed the flight of the ball. It's hit him in his chest and dropped at his feet.
I think we're starting to see a theme. Teams are looking at where Lukaku's lining up in the defensive line and just hanging the ball up above him because...
Well, for a player, Leon, as strong as he is in the air, Lukaku, his head on a stick.
It's a fabulous ball in, though, isn't it?
It's a great ball in.
Great ball in, caused all sorts of problems, and you know, the ricochet fell kindly for Burnley.
OK, wow, what a start then for Sean Dyche.
Goodmanson with the cross in, by the way.
OK. Right, it has finished at Millwall. Millwall 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. So let's go to the Championship, and Cardiff City can't afford to drop points today against Fulham. Carl Roberts.
No, Jason, but rather than catch runaway Wolves, Cardiff might be more concerned about staying in the automatic promotion places. They're only 3 points clear of Bristol City and Derby. Christmas bonus for the Bluebirds today. Last season's top scorer, Kenneth Zohore, has started for the first time since October. He's had the crowd off their feet already in the opening minutes. He's one of 2 Cardiff changes. Fulham are in decent form too. They're only 11th, but they're 6 points off the playoffs. One change today, Odoi in for Kamara. As I say, the only action has come from Zohore at a Cardiff City stadium that's being lashed with rain, 0-0.
Scunthorpe United 4th in the table have the leader Blackpool. Tom Hopper with a goal. Had a good start for Colchester United in League 2. They lead Crawley by 1-0. Well, third place Derby County travel to Hull City looking for a 5th consecutive win. Peter Slater.
And contrast that with Hull's recent record, 1 win in 10. But of course, not all that's down to Nigel Adkins. He's only been here for 3 of those. Win over Brentford and 2 narrow away defeats. Adkins describes the Hull mood as positive. Meanwhile, Gary Rowett will point to the game between these two at Pride Park back in September. Derby won that 5-0. Do that again, and they just could be second in the automatic promotion places. And they've started very well. Within 30 seconds, David Nugent forcing Alan McGregor into a very decent save. It's Hull 0, Derby 0.
Yeah, Derby County on a fine run. League Cup semi-finalist Bristol City unbeaten in 6 in all competitions. Today they take on a Reading side who've lost their last 2. Hamish Marshall has the latest.
Bristol City doing the early pressing in the first 3.5 minutes. Lee Johnson challenging his players to put the Manchester United hype to one side and keep up the promotion push. If they can extend the good run, they're one of 3 sides, we've heard about the other 2, who could end the day in second spot. Reading really need to improve if they're to emulate last season when they reached a playoff final. They've taken just 1 point from the last 9. 0-0 so far.
A 5-match unbeaten run has moved Leeds United back into the playoffs. Their Boxing Day treat is a trip to Burton Albion. Enjoying it, Lindsay Hooper?
Very much so, Jason. It's great to be back at the football, isn't it? 0-0. There's a sunny disposition here at Burton. Not only is the actual winter sun shining down on the Pirelli Stadium today, but wins against Bolton and Reading have lifted Nigel Clough's team out of relegation. And against Leeds, they're going for a 3rd straight win. The mood here, the best it's been for a while. But in Leeds, they face a team who've recently turned on the form themselves. 5th at the halfway stage of the season with 13 points from their last 5 outings. Thomas Christian's side are full of confidence, especially as Burton have the worst home record in the Championship. It's goalless here.
We've got another goal in the Championship. Naz Premji.
Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Life after Carlos Carmel starts with a bang for Lee Bull, and Adam Reach with a thunderbolt from distance. It nestled in at a top corner, and Wednesday lead. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Terrific start from Sheffield Wednesday. We've got a goal at the Vitality. Tony Husband.
It's Bournemouth 0, West Ham United 1. First corner for the Hammers. It's a great run across goal from James Collins, the skipper, back in the side today. And a real bullet of a header. Might be some questions about who was tracking him. Certainly no questions about the finish. Begovic may be called out on his near post. But West Ham are in front here. Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1.
He doesn't get many, but what a fantastic header, John. James Collins.
It's a great header. And it's difficult to score when you run that far past the near post. But he's made great contact. The pace of the ball has chucked it in. Big Ginge, great lad, good centre-half. Glad to see him getting the game today because he's been in and out of the squad. But great header, West Ham 1 up.
He just got away from Francis. It was far too easy for him to get away. He didn't do anything crazy. He didn't throw in a real shimmy. He just darted to the front post, and Francis was asleep, and Bournemouth paid the penalty because of it.
Great start for the Hammers. Sheffield United have hit a bit of a sticky patch, and that's putting it kindly. Today they face Sunderland, moving in the right direction, finally, under Chris Coleman. Sue Smith.
They are, Jason, and since he arrived, they have been working hard on being really difficult to beat, and he seems to have instilled a real belief and positive outlook throughout the team. A big loss, though, is that top goal scorer Lewis Grabban is out. He's got a calf injury. Sheffield United have slipped off the pace, like you said, losing 4 out of 5, but Bramall Lane is such a difficult place to come, and the atmosphere today is brilliant. So far, Sheffield United 0, Sunderland 0.
United could go 6th if they beat Bury today. David Ball has put them in front after just 5 minutes in League One. Back to the Championship, bottom club Birmingham City won just one of their last 11 games. They're playing Norwich City at St Andrews, and Adam Cottier, surely you're not expecting too many goals this afternoon. We wish you luck.
No, Birmingham have found them hard to come by this season. Just 12 overall in the Championship and only 7 at home. No improvement will almost certainly mean relegation. They're short on strikers too, with Sam Gallagher suspended. Lukas Jutkovic comes in. He's managed just 1 goal in his last 28 appearances. Norwich's recent record reads similar to Birmingham's, 1 win in 10 league games. 5 changes for them today, with manager Daniel Farke under pressure to turn things around. Early stages here, 0-0.
Well, some big news from Middlesbrough today. They've named Tony Pulis as their new boss, replacing Gary Monk. He's watching the game against Bolton Wanderers. Durham Tanner.
And so far he's seen them do OK. 0-0 after 7.5 minutes. Yes, 3.5 hours ago, Tony Pulis was announced as the new Borough manager. And that, of course, events have been very fast, just 3 days after Gary Monk was sacked. In fact, Gary Monk's manager article is still in the matchday programme. Craig Liddle, the academy manager, takes charge as Middlesbrough are on the charge once again. As for the opposition, well, Bolton have yet to win away, but of course they did beat Cardiff last time out, didn't they?
They did indeed, yes. Thank you for the reminder. Dwayne Holmes has got his 9th goal of the season for Scunthorpe United, and a big goal at the John Smith Stadium. Ivan Gaskell.
And it's Huddersfield who've taken the lead here. Inside the first 10 minutes, it had been a bright start by both sides. But Tom Ince from close range after work, well, a kind of perseverance from Colin Quaner at the near post. He scrambled the ball back, and there was Ince. It won't come much easier than that for him, but you have to be there to score them. 1-0.
Yeah, and you've got to say, John and Leon, that Stoke City simply do not clear their lines.
No, the scrappy goal, they've allowed a ricochet, and it was real awful defender, but let's not take anything away from Tom Ince. It's been a long time coming. He's been working his socks off in pretty much every game. Hasn't been able to get that goal until today, so the real Christmas treat for Tom.
They've got an awful defensive record, haven't they, John? Stoke
well,
City?
Leon mentioned it. That's the first thing that Mark Hughes needs to do is shore up his defence. 41 goals now, which is the most. But Huddersfield, credit to Huddersfield, they work it well from the right-hand side. Poor defending, and they don't clear it. It's laid back. Tom Ince arrives great and gets his goal.
It just shows, though, I mean, we're talking about Stoke's terrible defensive record, and Huddersfield haven't scored many themselves. They've been real low scorers this season, and yet an early goal and Stoke concede again.
10th goal of the season for Chris Porter. Crewe Alexandra, struggling in League Two, have taken the lead against Chesterfield. Ipswich Town fighting for a playoff place. Can they return to winning ways against Queen's Park Rangers after defeat to Wolves on Saturday? Mark Webber's there.
Well, unbelievably, QPR are the form side in this affair. They come looking for a way win to lift them into mid-table. Meanwhile, of course, the hosts tend to win one, then lose one of late, still looking for a playoff berth, of course. An early strike from Ipswich's David McGoldrick. The shot pushed away for a corner. QPR banging a bit of possession now, but nothing to show of it. It's 0-0.
Yet new ownership hasn't brought a change in Barnsley's luck just yet. No win in 8, but can they stop the rot against Preston North End? Richard Askham.
Hi, Jason. It certainly won't be easy. Alex Neil's side are unbeaten in 7, a run that has taken them to within a couple of points of the playoff places. The opposite, really, isn't it, of Paul Heckingbottom's young Barnsley team, whose alarming slide down the table leaves them sitting nervously just above the bottom 3. At the ripe old age of 29, Adam Hamill is one of the old men of the Barnsley squad. He returns today to a starting lineup that shows 4 changes in all. Daniel Johnson is one of 3 for Preston. The only shot of note so far, Tom Barkhuizen for North End, but easily gathered.
Well, Burnley have gone close again at Old Trafford, and there's a goal in the Championship at the Cardiff City Stadium. Carl Roberts.
And it's gone to the visitors, Fulham. They lead by a goal to 0. USA centre-half Tim Ream with the header. He had an empty goal to nod it into at the far post. Cross came in from the right. Cardiff City Stadium is fuller than it normally is today, but a hush descended as Ream nodded Fulham ahead. They lead 1-0.
Thank you, Carl. One of the games across the day in English football is in League One. Top two meeting at the DW Stadium. Andy Giddings.
And it's Wigan against the nearest challenger, Shrewsbury. It started pretty well. Wigan have had more of the possession, but the game's outstanding chance has gone to Abi Agogo for Shrewsbury. His header from 8 yards out sailed just over the top of the crossbar. Wigan come into this game fresh from a club record 7-0 win against Oxford. They can go 7 points clear should they get consecutive win number 6 as things stand. Shrewsbury have restored order after a pre-Christmas wobble. They're aiming for a third straight win and double bubble over the Latics. We've had 11 minutes. Decent stuff so far, but it remains 0-0.
Thank you, Andy. Rotherham United look as if they're moving into the top 6 this afternoon. They now lead 2-0 at Bury. Lee Freckenington with the goal. Well, League Two leaders Luton Town are at Swindon Town. A win today will guarantee they end the year top of the table. And you have to say, Lawrence Herdman, very well deserved.
Very well deserved indeed, Jason. It's goalless here. They're on top here, Luton. They might have scored just a couple of minutes ago as well. Brilliant Alan Sheehan free kick into the area. Dan Potts has volleyed over from just 6 yards out. At the other end, though, Swindon making a real match of this. Paul Mullins twice had shots saved by Marek Steck in the Luton goal. Swindon, remember, just a couple of points off the playoffs themselves, despite a disappointing recent run. It's 0-0.
Well, Accrington are looking for a playoff place this season. They're currently 7th. They're a goal down. Carlisle United have the lead in League Two. Let's go back to the Premier League. Good chance that for Burnley at Old Trafford. Damien Johnson.
Yeah, they still lead by a goal to 0. Ashley Barnes with that early strike after confusion in the Manchester United defence. But they could have doubled the lead. A volley from Scott Arfield just clipped the Manchester United crossbar with De Gea just struggling to cover. United coming back into it. Mata had a chance. The danger snuffed out by Ben Mee. Burnley still lead.
Any chances yet at Stamford Bridge, Chris Wise?
One of note, Jason, for Chelsea. Hazard with it, pulling a shot wide from about 25 yards out after dropping a shoulder and cutting back onto his left foot. Chelsea had the bulk of the possession in the opening 10 minutes, but Brighton just in the last 2 or 3 minutes beginning to see a little more of the ball. And from the way they're set up, they're organised, they're resolute, as Brighton always are. Chelsea are going to have to be smart to find a way through them today. 0-0.
Notts County trying to keep up the pace with Luton Town at the top of League Two. They have a lead at Morecambe. George Grant with a goal. At the Hawthorns, a free kick. Robin Cowan.
To Everton, but they should be behind. 2 big chances for West Brom. A brilliant cross from Rodriguez from the right-hand side. Rondon, he got ahead of the defender, but completely missed kicks. And Chris Brunt missed a header with a nice whipped cross in from the left-hand side. Here is Gylfi Sigurdsson to float one into the back post, and it goes all the way through for a goal kick. But a big highlight for me, Yannick Bolasie scythed down by a challenge by the West Brom defender. He did a couple of push-ups before getting to his feet just to show he's fighting fit after appearing for the first time in over a year. 0-0.
That's what we like to see on a Boxing Day. To Vicarage Road, Mike Williams.
Largely uneventful first quarter of an hour here in Hertfordshire. Watford just had a corner wasted. Here come Leicester with a chance, though. Mahrez unmarked, but Gomez just manages to put him off, and the flag was offside anyway. Before that, the most notable thing to tell you were 3 yellow cards inside the first 11 minutes. 1 for Harry Maguire and 2 for Watford. 1 for Ben Watson and another one for Christian Cabaselli. From young new referee Chris Kavanagh in his first season in the Premier League, he clearly will take no messing.
Well, we've been talking about the discipline for Watford. 2 yellow cards already inside 15 minutes. Amazing. Let's go to the Vitality. Chance there. Tony Husband.
Great opportunity for Bournemouth to equalise. They should be level in this one. Remember, they're behind to James Collins' header from West Ham's corner. But Callum Wilson just got away down the right-hand side. He put a lovely ball right across the face of the penalty area. It's absolutely on a plate for Joshua King. And he's managed to kind of slice the finish wide of the target. Should have scored, and Bournemouth trail 1-0.
Stoke City playing some nice stuff, but terrible ball in a few moments ago, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, it's interesting, actually. Stoke have made a pretty bright start to this game. They've had 3 decent chances, the latest of which Peter Crouch, who's chasing Stoke's all-time outright Premier League scoring record. He's, after John Walters, level with John Walters on 43, steered a header over the crossbar, but that was the third of 3 pretty decent chances. Jonas Lörsel, the Huddersfield keeper, is allegedly playing with a broken nose. He's been tested early on, but it's still a buoyant atmosphere here on this Boxing Day at Huddersfield, who lead by that Tom Ince goal.
Good chance at Vicarage Road. Good save from Morello Gomez. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But, John, what is happening at Old Trafford? United look pretty ordinary, don't they?
Yeah, well, Scott Arfield just had a decent effort. I think he was always going over the bar, hits the top of the bar and just goes over. Ashley Young just put a brilliant ball in for Lukaku, who failed to get any contact on the header, but it was whipped in with great pace. So Burnley holding their own at the minute. I have to say that.
Other than that ball in from Ashley Young, United haven't offered an awful lot. Burnley have scored a goal, had another attempt, and we're still waiting for United to wake up, really, and offer something in the game.
Yeah, Leicester City looking bright, aren't they, at Vicarage Road?
Yeah, and I'm expecting that to be a high-scoring game. Watford, tend to score a lot. Leicester are fantastic on the counter-attack. I thought it might be a high-scoring game. As yet, probably not enough in it. Probably two teams just feeling each other out. And maybe it'll liven up.
Chance for West Bromwich Albion. Robin Cowan.
Another huge chance wasted by West Brom. A corner kick recycled brilliantly by Chris Brunt. It was put back in and then fired back in from the far side into it's the head of Craig Dawson. He's nodded it over the bar. He really should have scored there. It's still West Brom 0, Everton 0.
Oh, Dawson's got to score that, hasn't he, John?
I think he's just stretching, Jace. I just think, he gets up, but he can't just direct the header on target, and it just flies over the bar.
Everton riding the luck at the moment. Need to tighten up defensively, but attacking wise, it's great to see Balassi out there. He's been a long time out the game. He's back doing his tricks. He's hugging this left-hand side when he's demanding the ball an awful lot, which is a great
and doing his press-ups as well.
Well, there's
you ever
nothing
done
wrong
that?
with
Played to the crowd, Leon, by showing how fit you were?
Not by showing how fit I was, that's for sure.
Back to Stamford Bridge, Chris Wise.
Chelsea have just missed an absolutely giant opportunity. It would have been a wonderfully worked goal as well. Hazard with a little flick on the right side of the penalty area. Fabregas drilling one up to the far post. Rudiger denied it back into the 6-yard box. Bakayoko, 4 yards out, simply had to tap it into the net. He put it wide, and everybody in Stamford Bridge just gasped. 0-0.
Not going well for Plymouth Argyle this season, but Gary Sawyer's got a goal at MK Dons in League One, and Wycombe Wanderers in front at home to Newport County. Nathan Tyson with a goal. To Old Trafford, Damien Johnson.
United coming back into it. Luke Shaw rampaging forward from left back. Forced a save from Nick Pope in the Burnley goal, going low to his left, full stretch. United had a free kick. They've got a free kick again on the far side after a challenge. Can't see who the man is down. United coming back into it, but Burnley still lead 1-0.
OK, let's take a break. We shall come back to the Premier League in just a moment, but let's hear from Harry Kane after his record-breaking afternoon at Wembley.
No, it's been amazing. It's been a fantastic year, one I'm very proud of. Like I say, when you get compared to them players, the Messis and Shearers and stuff like that, it's what it's all about. So first and foremost, it's an unbelievable display again by the team. Great result. And to get another hat-trick is just a great feeling to end the year.
Your first two goals were from a sort of combined distance of about 3.5 feet, but being in that position so reliably is what it's all about.
No, that's where the majority of goals are scored. It's just about finding gaps, finding space. When you've got Dele, Sonny, Christian putting them deliveries in, just getting the right places and you score. So like I say, big thanks to the team for everything, all the assists. And let's just keep it going.
They've got huge games coming up, haven't they, John? And they've had a bit of a blip, Spurs. They really have got to kick on now in the league and all the other competitions.
Well, yeah, they're in all the competitions. They won the Champions League group, doing great there. It's a phenomenal amount of goals Harry Kane has scored. But what I like about him there, he's first to thank his teammates, and he's first to say what a big win for the team that was. Humble. Gets on with it. Listen to Harry Redknapp on the radio this morning. He was saying what a joy Harry Kane was to work for. Fantastic boy.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah, I mean, from Spurs' point of view, every team's going to have a blip. It's very difficult to do what Man City seem to be doing at the moment, not having a blip during the season. And they've come out the back having, it not affected them too much. They're still competing in the competitions. They've still got players full of confidence. Harry Kane's still scoring goals, so hopefully you'll see Spurs pushing on now.
Yep, let's hope so. And let's go to Old Trafford. Damien Johnson, what have we missed?
Well, they went close, Manchester United. Paul Pogba up from the back with a header which was turned around the post by Nick Pope. He's made a couple of decent saves, the Burnley keeper. United exerting a bit of pressure and causing a bit of consternation in the back as they get into the area again. But the danger is cleared by Stephen Defour. It's a corner for Manchester United. The pressure all at the Burnley end. You
do have to say, though, for all of United's inadequacies going forward, defensively, Burnley are holding their own, aren't they, Leon?
They are, and they have done all season. They've been probably their strength this season, being able to go away from home, keep clean sheets at home, nicking games 1-0, and that's been the story of this season. And they're 1-0 up away at Old Trafford. I don't know if you'd bet against them not being able to see it through. I mean, it is a tough ask, but they've done it all season long.
You were at Turf Moor, weren't you, on Saturday watching Spurs, and it was very hard to cope with Harry Kane when he's on his day. But were you surprised how poor they were defensively, Burnley, considering how well organised they have been?
Yeah, but remember, Tarkowski's out of the team as well. You know, they've had a settled back four up until he does that crazy punches Murray off the ball, gets a 3-game suspension. Was I surprised? A little bit, yeah, normally, but I have to say that Spurs were excellent. They were finding space, very difficult to stop, and it was questionable as well. I did think it was a penalty, Dele Alli, but he also could have got sent off. The referee on the day, Michael Oliver, he decided to give Dele Alli a yellow card and not a red card. I didn't think it was a sending off, but other referees might have give it. And then all of a sudden, Spurs go down to 10 men. It's a different game. But Burnley are a lot more solid today at Old Trafford.
And a lot of people thought that when Tom Heaton got injured, they thought, well, that's it. But in fairness to Nick Pope, he's come in and done a magnificent job, hasn't he?
He has. He's been fantastic. And, you know, I think they were a bit worried. They've tried to bring in a goalkeeper as quick as they could in the emergency loan system, but they haven't needed him. Pope has been fantastic. He's really stepped up. He's waited a long time to get his chance playing in the first team, and he's took it with both hands.
Notts County unbeaten in the last 9 games in League Two. Luis Alessandro has made it 2-0 now at Morecambe. Back to Stamford Bridge. Chris Wise.
The resilience of Brighton is still causing Chelsea concern. 0-0, another chance, half chance really though, this one for Bakayoko, who missed that big opportunity about 5 minutes ago. Fabregas with a downward header to him, this time on the edge of the box. The ball, he just couldn't get it to sit down. It was a swipe at it, surrounded by black shirts, wide of the post. No chances for Brighton so far.
You've got to say as well, there's one man standing out at the Hawthorns. That is Yannick Bolasie, Robin Cowan.
It is. It's so great to see him back. He's one of those players you pay to come and watch. Him and Wilfried Zaha, such entertainers when they were together at Crystal Palace. Still 0-0. Another half chance for West Brom. This time Rondon with a header. Couldn't get the right connection on it. Everton, you feel like they've weathered this early storm by West Brom, and they're lucky to find themselves still in this game. It's 0-0.
Intriguing, Tony Husband. Andy Carroll warming up already.
He is. He's probably just staying warm. Driving rain here on the south coast. Absolute edge of the seat game, this one. It really is building up well. Masuaku crossed for Ayew, who narrowly came close to putting West Ham into a 2-goal lead. Bournemouth have come right back at them with a really fierce crowd behind them as well. Josh King has put another cross wide. This time it came from the left from Ryan Fraser. Adam Smith has had a 20-yard shot tipped over the top as well. It's a great game. 25 minutes played. West Ham lead 1-0.
We should also say that lots of grounds today absolutely full. Ivan Gaskell.
This is one of them. A really good, buoyant Boxing Day atmosphere, as we've mentioned before. The clackers are much in evidence. You can probably hear them in the background, and, well, they might be. Huddersfield going very nicely in the season and going steadily enough in this game too. Stoke have played their part, certainly. They've had their chances, but really haven't made a great impact. Though, as I speak, Shaqiri in the box, tries to get a shot away, evades the keeper's outstretched hand. It's a corner. Don't rule Stoke out. They're far from over.
Well, we thought it was a goal at Vicarage Road, Mike Williams, but it's a miss.
File that one under. How did he miss that? Jamie Vardy looked on for his 9th goal of the season. He was fed by Albrighton, beat the offside trap. He was one-on-one with Gomez. He looked to just be... All he needed to do was fire it past the Brazilian, and he dragged it wide. So, egg on the face for Jamie Vardy. It stays goalless. Just moments before that, Shinji Okazaki had his header acrobatically saved by Gomez. So the visitors on top here, but it remains goalless.
Well, it's very rare you see Jamie Vardy do this, John, but in that position, when you're clear through, presumably what you're looking to do is tuck it around the other side of the keeper, aren't you?
Me and John didn't run through like that. John was in the back stick for headers.
Very true.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What he does well, he gets across the defender. I just think he just tries to be a little bit too clever. Rather than bend in that open wide goal, he just tries to lift it over the keeper. And
Leon, what would you have done?
Gets it wrong.
I would have got caught about 10 yards sooner. But yeah, he was just too casual, as John said. You usually expect Vardy to open his body up and pass it into the corner, and he tried to lethargically dink the goalkeeper, and it didn't work out.
Blackpool have got a goal back. Danny Phillips-Kirk with a goal in League One. 2-1 Scunthorpe lead. Right, Stoke City have had a couple of chances, Ivan Gaskell.
Unbelievable passage of play. Jonas Lersel's goal under an absolute siege from Stoke. How they didn't just score from their, 3 or 4 chances. I made at least 2 off the line, possibly 3. Eventually, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, easy for me to say, overhead kick from no more than 3 yards. How he didn't score and how Lössl saved it, I'll let you work out.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Ivan, for that. But we're looking at it right now. It's incredible clearance, isn't it?
Are you sure that goal line technology is working there? Because
I think that's what Peter Crouch is saying.
Over the line to me.
It's an incredible save. He's got his arm there. It does, for all the world, look like it's over the line, but you know the watches are incredibly accurate these days.
They are accurate. Yeah, what a joke!
Wouldn't want to call that into question.
Well, Peter Crouch has got his arm in the air, but initially, though, what a save from Lössl from the header.
Fantastic save, and not just to get his arm there, for it to be strong, to keep it out, because the goalkeeper's a yard over the line, and his arm is in front of him, manages to keep it in play, and is quick enough to get out and smother it afterwards, so there's no tapping for.
Well, they're showing a lot of sparky spirit, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and actually leading up to that effort there from Oatsing, Shaqiri went through, and he was just tipped around the post for a Stoke corner. So Stoke are pressing, looking for the equaliser.
Peter Crouch is pleading for that ball to be over the line. Right, let's go back to the Cardiff City Stadium. Carl Roberts.
Well, Tim Ream's goal, still the difference. Jason, Cardiff have responded well. There's a foul on the far side at the moment, a Fulham man in a heap. The home side don't like it. Cardiff have responded well. Joe Rolls with a shot from 20 yards along the sopping wet turf, held well by Bettinelli. Cardiff owner Vincent Tan is here today, Jason, but not much for him to cheer at the moment. Cardiff 0, Fulham 1.
No, not much to cheer in the studio either. Right, Crewe Alexandra don't win many. They lead by 2 goals to 0. Let's go to Ashton Gate. Hamish Marshall.
Bristol City 0, Reading 0. The home side on top and full of confidence, but it's Reading who've created the only real chance of the game. Bud Varston set up Mo Barrow. He couldn't, though, improve on his recent return of 4 goals in 4 games. His shot went across the face of goal and was wide. 28 minutes almost played, 0-0.
Another goal in the Premier League at the Vitality. Tony Husband.
Equaliser for Bournemouth. Dan Gosling, after a free kick, isn't cleared by the West Ham rearguard. Collins among the players trying to get it away. A looping ball, tantalisingly coming in from Fraser, and it bounced down. An unmarked Gosling, centre of the goal, drills it in. 1-1. Great game.
James Collins at one end scores for West Ham United, but he needs to clear that ball, doesn't he, Leon?
Yeah, he does. You know, the ball's come into the area. He's in the middle of the penalty. Sorry, he's in the middle of the goal on the 6-yard line. He's got to do a bit better with his header. Can't clear it all the way. And Dan Gosling comes in late and in the middle of the goal. He's probably not going to miss from there. And it's a goal for Dan Gosling against a former manager in David Moyes.
I think Nathan Aké does well, because as Collins is just trying to clear it from a defensive point of view, Aké, the defender for Bournemouth, just leans on him, puts him off. So it's good play, really, because what it does is it means that James can't clear it totally. So it drops down and Gosling was first to react.
I think it was a good ball, because Collins is on the back foot trying to head it clear. It's always difficult to get any distance on a header when you're backing off. So a good ball and a good decision from Aké.
Yeah, 1-1 there. Goal in the Championship at the Pirelli Stadium. Lindsay Hooper.
Burton Albion 1, Leeds United 0, and I was just about to say how Leeds had just started getting going in this game. They've been very slow out the starting blocks, but had dominated then completely against the run of play. Down the other end, you have to say it was some shoddy defending from the Leeds players. Burton Albion with lots of room, lots of space. Sordell got a shot away, but eventually Naylor got the final touch, and he's put Burton Albion 1 goal in front.
I'm pretty sure I've just seen the security guard run onto the pitch at the John Smith Stadium, Ivan Gaskell.
Nothing of any concern here. I'll tell you what is happening. We're about to see a Stoke City player come onto the pitch, and Ryan Shawcross go off it, injured in a desperate bid to get back as Huddersfield broke. Shawcross, I think, has possibly pulled a calf or a hamstring. Sobey has replaced him. And just to refer back to that amazing incident moments ago where Lössl, his goal led a charmed life, the goal replay system has judged it not a goal, but by the thinnest of margins. I make it maybe half a centimetre. I don't know whether you saw that, but that's very unfortunate for Stoke.
Well, I tell you what we are looking at. We'll talk about that in just a moment, Ivan Gaskell, but let's go to Tony Husband, because it's all kicked off there.
Well, it has. We've got people everywhere, actually, down on the touchline, right in front of 2 dugouts. If you think who's in the dugouts in this game between Bournemouth and West Ham, you've got some pretty fiery temperaments. This has all come from an incident involving Simon Francis. His eyes on the ball as he raises his boot high, but he does really whack Kouyaté in the face as a ball drops over his shoulder. Kouyaté's taken the boot in the face. He's gone flat on his back, and then, of course, the inevitable has happened afterwards. Lots of people have piled in, lots of pushing and shoving, and even, actually, you're talking about security men. It appears somebody in a suit randomly seemed to come on and start trying to stop things. He was removed by the fourth official, and we've got a stoppage in play, and Kouyaté still receiving treatment, and Francis has got a yellow card for that incident.
Right, OK, well, boys, you've just seen this as well. It looks pretty awful. Tony Husband makes a good point, and the point is, Leon, are his eyes on the ball? They are.
Good
but
point. Great point.
Yeah, his eyes are on the ball.
It's still dangerous, isn't it?
Coming over his shoulder. I don't think he realises the man's there, but
I totally agree with you.
He's got his foot above his head. He's caught Kouyaté studs right in the face.
It looks dangerous play, but he's looking over his shoulder, Jace. He can't see Kouyaté coming. His foot comes up and he actually catches Kouyaté. His studs are right up near his face. So you could say it's dangerous play, but he's not aware that Kouyaté's on his shoulder.
I don't think he's aware, but it's sort of similar to Mane against Ederson earlier in the season. It's dangerous play. His foot's above his head. He's pretty much caught him in the face. And for me, even though he hasn't meant it, I think that's probably classed as dangerous play.
There's very little Christmas cheer there because it all kicks off, doesn't it?
Well, it's right in front of the dugouts. You know, both sets of benches are off on their feet, and the players are over there, and you know the game's still not got underway. The players still on the floor.
So
and it's been a good few minutes
obviously,
now.
from a West Ham point of view, they feel that it was dangerous play, and they feel there should have been more action from the ref.
Yeah, we're just going to look at the goal decision system as well, because as I asked you this question, you can have a look at it now. Yeah. You said to me, it's literally minimal. Literally Stoke City almost scored.
Millimetres. It looks like the whole ball's behind the line. Even when they stop it, it's only when you zoom right in and see right up close. It's
so that's why Peter Crouch. So that's why I was saying that Peter Crouch, wasn't he? He was urging that ball to be over the line. He appealed to the referee.
But I can say it as well.
That's his view of it.
That is why goal line technology is crucial. That is absolutely impossible to see by the naked eye from any official.
How much would you say that? I mean, it is millimetres, isn't it?
Yeah, we're talking 3 or 4 millimetres, maybe 5, 1/2 centimetre, and you know, as I said, the naked eye can't see that. And goal line technology works again.
It is brilliant because Huddersfield might just be in a situation where that actual, pictures that we're seeing, that could be vital for them.
Yeah, absolutely right. OK, goal in the Championship at St Andrews. Birmingham City scoring. Adam Cottier.
More problems for them. Birmingham 0, Norwich 1. Caught out by a clever free kick taken by James Maddison. Just rolled it forward and Pritchard ran onto it and slammed it into the top corner unmarked. Good goal for Norwich. They lead here. Birmingham 0, Norwich 1.
James Coppinger scored for Doncaster Rovers in League One. They lead Northampton Town by 1-0. Back to the Premier League to Old Trafford. Damien Johnson.
It's a free kick for Burnley just outside the area. Scott Arfield upended by Ashley Young. It's eerily quiet here, save for that knot of Burnley fans away to my right, who are in very good voice. No wonder their side lead by 1-0. Stephen Defoe, who could have become a Manchester United player once, is standing over this free kick. I think there's going to be a slight delay while they line up the wall. Are you going to stay with me?
Not because we have a goal, but thank you very much indeed, Damien. Goal at Bramall Lane. Sue Smith.
It's Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0. It's John Lundstrom with the goal, but it's Mark Duffy who set it up. He has been so instrumental in the middle of the park for Sheffield United today. He just laid the ball through to him. Lundstrom, good first touch, and then just passed the ball past Robin Reuter in the Sunderland goal. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0.
No win in 6 for Sheffield United. Are they back to winning ways? We should have stayed with you, Damien Johnson. I'm so sorry.
You should have done, because you've missed a fantastic goal, a second for Burnley. It's Stephen Defoe, the Belgian international. Free kick, central position, 25 yards out, and he curled it beyond De Gea. It was unstoppable. 2-0 Burnley.
There are moments on a Saturday or a Boxing Day where you have a few regrets. That's one of them. We should have stayed with Damien.
Oh, definitely. What a free kick. I mean, to beat David De Gea from distance is nearly impossible these days. It shows how accurate that free kick was. It was right in the top corner. De Gea just about gets a fingertip to it maybe, but you know, there's no way you can keep that out. What a fantastic free kick that is. And you know, I think judging from the game and the setup and seeing the way it's gone, I think Burnley deserved that.
What a goal. I've just seen Mahrez.
Yeah, I know, I was going to say, I'll talk to you about that goal.
Free kick.
Yeah, talk to you about that goal in a moment, but big goal at Vicarage Road. Mike Williams.
And it's gone to the visitors. It is the least they deserve. It is Riyad Mahrez, who made one for Leicester on Saturday against Manchester United. He's now on the score sheet in his own right today. And again, it was Mark Albrighton who whipped in the ball, a beautiful cross onto the head of the Algerian, who just guided it past Gomez. Albrighton did all the work. He hustled and bustled his way past the Watford defence, managed to get a cross in, and Mahrez, right place, right time, got his head on it and gave Leicester a lead they fully deserve here at Vicarage Road.
Mark Albrighton's having a terrific season. It's a great cross. We don't see many headers from Riyad Mahrez, do we, John?
No, and I don't think he always gets the credit he deserves, Mark Albrighton. He's been a really good player for a number of years now for Leicester. Sets up so many goals. That was a brilliant header from Mahrez there to put Leicester in front.
Yep, and let's go back to Old Trafford. What's happening, Damien Johnson?
Almost an instant response from Manchester United. An effort from Marcus Rashford. Drilled it goalwards, cleared off the line by Ben Mee. They're rattled United, but they're coming back into it. They still trail by 2-0.
Bradley Dack has scored again. He's into double figures. That's 10 for the season. Blackburn Rovers lead Rochdale by 1-0. Lincoln City have the lead at home to Stevenage. Harry Anderson on 34. Let's head to Stamford Bridge. Chris Wise.
Can't match the excitement here, I'm afraid. Still 0-0. Chelsea tapping rather than pounding at the door. There's only been one significant chance in the last 15 minutes. A beautifully floated Fabregas pass into the penalty area, and Moses on the volley, side-footed, went to go at Matt Ryan's near post, and the Australian goalkeeper flicked it behind for a corner. Chelsea are toiling a little bit, 0-0.
By the way, that's 6 goals of the season for Harry Anderson for Lincoln City. Back to the Hawthorns, Robin Coward.
Still 0-0. Game has sort of petered out a little bit. West Brom looking good in the build-up. They haven't managed to convert any of their clear-cut chances as of yet. Everton again as the same, looking good in the build-up, but Ben Foster have had very little to do so far. It's 0-0.
And back to the John Smith Stadium, Ivan Gaskell.
Yeah, we're 6 minutes to half-time. A fascinating encounter between the blue and white and the red and white stripes, and at the moment the Blues have it. Stoke's defensive record, as you alluded to earlier, is questionable. They've conceded 41 goals so far this season, which is, what, 5 or 6 more than anyone else. I wonder what their problems might be.
Yeah, and to the Vitality Stadium. Has it all calmed down, Tony Husband?
A little, Jason, but to be honest, you can't take your eyes off this game. It's absolutely pulsating stuff. There's 1 or 2 incidents that are going to be picked up, I'm sure, by David Moyes after this game. We've talked in detail about that Simon Francis moment. Could Bournemouth really be unhappy if he had received a red card for that? I'm not sure. And also, there's another incident we need to see another replay of at some point. It's an off-the-ball incident involving Joshua King, and he may have struck out at Ogbonna. That'll be something to look at later. Still 1-1.
Oh, that's something that we can have a look at in studio and help you out with. Let's go, in the meantime, to Vicarage Road. Mike Williams.
Well, we told you a short time ago about a glaring miss from Jamie Vardy at the away end here, and now at the home end, Richarlison really should have equalised for Watford. He was put through by Correo. He rounded Schmeichel, did the Brazilian Richarlison, but again hit the side netting. So frustrated was he that he kicked out of the advertising boardings in frustration. It remains Watford 0, Leicester 1.
He kicked out the advertising hoardings and missed. I suppose, in a way, that Richarlison gets into good positions, doesn't he?
He does. He's a good player.
So many opportunities.
I really like
You've only
him.
just got it, haven't you?
I really like him, James, but I actually don't think the angle is that tight. I think for a player of his quality, he does the right thing, takes his first touch around the goalkeeper. The angle is there to score, and he hits the side netting. I don't think it's that difficult.
He gets himself into really good goal-scoring positions, doesn't he, Leon?
Should score.
I think the keeper does well, though. I think you've got to give Schmeichel a bit of credit there. He stood up. He didn't dive for the early efforts at him. Made him try and go around him and forced him into missing the target.
So we're just looking at this incident that Tony was telling us about there. Josh King, can you see that there on the big screen there? We've just been taking a look at that, and there may be some sort of action being taken because the referee's completely missed this. If you look at Josh King...
I think, I mean, it looks from this angle that he has turned around and caught him. I think he's really disappointed that he's not received the ball. He's tried to throw his arms up, turn around.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Right, we'll see it again. Look, he gives the ball away, throws his arms up in the air to go mad at himself, and it turns out...
It looks bad.
...that the player is right behind him. So
I think Leon could be right.
I don't think he's actually gone to punch him.
He's sort of turned, and he's turned into him, and the boy is there.
The ball comes up to him.
The ball is in his face.
He gives his first touch away. It's so bad of a layoff from himself. I think he throws his arms up in being disappointed in himself.
Look.
And as he
I see what you mean.
He's
thrown his arms in frustration. Yeah. I don't know.
But people at home will say, well, he's either hit him or he hasn't.
Okay.
If you look at it and slow it down, you can understand what's happened.
That's a really good point, right? So people watching at home will say, right, lads, has he hit him or not? Yes or no?
No.
Make your mind up.
Well, he's caught him, obviously, but I don't think he's...
But it's not intentional.
I don't think he's got to hit him.
Right,
It's unintentional for me, yeah.
OK, we'll see if the FA...
doesn't look good, though.
Haven't looked great. OK, back to Old Trafford, Damien Johnson.
Still 2-0 Burnley, but Manchester United had a chance to pull one back. Zlatan Ibrahimovic back in the side for the first time alongside Romelu Lukaku. Had a chance, his effort was blocked, it was over the crossbar ultimately. Abramovich playing in a slightly different role behind Lukaku, but United not really creating very much.
Oh, ball in the box at Stamford Bridge, Chris Wise.
Opportunity for Chelsea. Fabregas' ball in flashed across the penalty area. Nobody there to meet it. Brighton escape. They haven't really been troubled too much by Chelsea in this first half. Frustrations are growing for the home side. It is 0-0 with a couple of minutes of the first half to play.
Well, Paul Pogba has gone very close at Old Trafford, and you just worry that what might happen in the post-match press conference when Jose gets going about his team today.
They'll have played too many games. And
Saturday it was childish decision-making, and today he might have to say we weren't very good.
Yeah, well, I'd like him to be honest, really, and give praise to Burnley, who have been outstanding. They've scored 2 great goals, have Burnley. Man United not creating anywhere near enough. He might rue. I actually thought before when the lineups were announced that Lukaku and Ibrahimovic would be a real handful for Burnley this afternoon. It hasn't proved to be that way. We might make a change at half-time and maybe bring a Lingard on or bring a Herrera on and change it. So
yeah, but when you look at the bench, I mean, are they game changers? With the greatest respect to them, are they game changers when you're chasing a game, Leon?
Just change the system.
Well, you started with such power and strength up front in Ibrahimovic and Lukaku, but what surprised me is Ibrahimovic has played quite deep today. I expected them to play up as 2 front men. 4-4-2, be right in the face of Burnley today, but you keep seeing in the pictures, Zlatan keeps dropping deep and is playing as the number 10, which maybe has given Burnley an opportunity to get forward.
Well, I suppose also it's an easier, perhaps, strategy for Burnley to defend, because they're just defending in their numbers as they've done all season.
Well, Burnley have been fantastic all season. They've come to Old Trafford and done exactly what they've done pretty much every game. They've kept it tight, they've frustrated the opposition, and they've hit on the counter-attack.
And with the 2 big ones up there, Manchester United might just revert to going long. You know, let's hit the 2 big ones up top and get bodies in and around them. Let's get the second balls.
Burnley will be delighted, the winning 2-0 at half-time. You give them a 2-0 lead and said keep a clean sheet, or at least keep 2 goals out from Manchester United, and they've done it all season. I think
certainly that'll probably be Sean Dyche's half-time team talk. Let's go back to Vicarage Road. Good game this, Mike Williams.
Yeah, good one, and a curious moment just a minute ago, Jason. It's got us all scratching our heads here because Marco Silva's made his first change, and it didn't seem to be because of an injury. He's taken off Roberto Pereira. Watford have a chance on the line, and it's stabbed in, and I think it could be. It is that man who has just made a big impact on this game, and it's his very first Premier League start. It is Molo Wagu, the Malian international. He's a former loanee at Leicester, and he has made his old club pay here from a corner, from very short range. The defender Wagu, as I say, on his Premier League start, has tapped in. Confusion in the Leicester box, and Wagu capitalised to slot it past Schmeichel to bring Watford level here as we head into half-time. I was just about to say before that goal that he'd taken Pereira off, seemingly tactically, and replaced him with Akaka, and moments later it's led to a goal through that man Wagu. 1-1.
Marco Silva loves it as well. We've seen a few defenders today perhaps not doing what they're supposed to do in clearing balls, but that's what happens there, John.
Well, very unlike Wes Morgan. He just seems to, I don't know whether he's unsighted or but he seems to turn his back, and it hits him at the back of the head. Ball bounces in the box, and Wagu is first to react, but Watford smashes it into
right
the
place.
net.
Yeah, and I think if any attacking player manages to get their foot on a direct from a corner rather than a head, the defenders will be disappointed, and they've got the benefit and a nice little tap in for Wagu.
Into the Championship, penalty at the City Ground. Naz Premji.
It's a penalty to the visitors, Sheffield Wednesday. We're into 3 minutes of added on time, and infringement in the box is going to be Jordan Rhodes.
against Smith. Rhodes steps up and he slots the ball into the bottom corner. And Sheffield Wednesday have a 2-goal lead here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2 in their first match since getting rid of Carlos Carvalhal.
Well, that's unbelievable. That's Jordan Rhodes' 6th goal of the season. And as Naz says, Carlos Carvalhal sacked on Saturday evening. They've got a new caretaker manager in Lee Bullen. What a start for Sheffield Wednesday. Right, let's go to the Hawthorns. Robin Cowan.
0-0 at half-time here. Somehow West Brom are not ahead at the break. They missed 3 clear-cut chances. A whipped cross from Rodriguez. Rondon completely missed kicks from a couple of yards out. Brunt couldn't connect with a cross. And Dawson nodded over from close range when he really should have scored. Everton promising in the build-up. They haven't forced Ben Foster into a meaningful save yet. A poor half from Sam Allardyce's side, but they're still in it. It's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
And to Stamford Bridge, Chris Wise.
Frustration, the name of the game for Chelsea. 0-0 at the break. You could say Brighton have done a job on the host. They've been defensively organised, acutely aware of the dangers that Chelsea possess, so they have sacrificed any attacking potency in the process. One big chance for Chelsea in that first half. A Bakayoko miss from 4 yards out. The ball came at him from short range really quickly. Couldn't adjust his feet in time. Other than that, half opportunities for Chelsea. They're 16 points behind Manchester City, and at the end of this latest game week, if they don't get a result here, they might find themselves even further behind the defending champions. 0-0.
Into the Championship. It's half-time at Cardiff City Stadium. Carl Roberts.
Yep, Fulham lead at half-time. Jason, they should have had a penalty after 5 minutes. They were in the lead soon after. Tim Ream headed inside the 6-yard box. Cardiff haven't hidden, though. 2 good saves from Fulham keeper Bettinelli. But Cardiff, if they want to close that gap on Wolves at the top, they need to improve in the second half. Half-time, Cardiff 0, Fulham 1.
And to Peter Slater at the KCOM Stadium.
Well, that second place in the table could be available if the score at Cardiff remains, but Derby haven't yet been able to score the goal which could take them there. Their best chances early and late. Nugent's shot parried, then Vyman's header tipped over the bar by Alan McGregor, but for all that, Hull probably should be in front. Terrell heading wide from a Krasicki cross. He really should have scored. Half-time at the KCOM, it's Hull 0, Derby 0.
Well, as well as Harry Kane breaking Alan Shearer's record, we may be looking at another big story today here at Old Trafford, Damien Johnson.
Absolutely. At half-time, Burnley are on course for a famous victory, and they'd be full value for it. Ashley Barnes poked them in front after confusion in the Manchester United area. This, remember, on the back of Jose Mourinho's criticism of his defenders at Leicester. Burnley's second was a cracker, a free kick in a central position. Stephen Defoe with an unstoppable curling effort into the top corner, past De Gea. United have spluttered in a flat atmosphere at Old Trafford. 2 decent saves from Nick Pope denied Shaw and Pogba. Burnley have won the last 3 Boxing Day encounters between these two sides. Are they heading for a 4th?
Well, even if they do, it'll just be amazing, because as it stands, Burnley are just 5 points off Chelsea in 3rd place. Unbelievable job Sean Dyche is doing. To the John Smith Stadium, half-time, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, Tom Ince has worked his socks off since summer move from Derby, with little to show for it in front of goal. That all changed 10 minutes in here. Indecision at the heart of Stoke's fragile defence. Corner's perseverance in stroking home from 6 yards. His relief at breaking his personal duck, and the deadlock clear. Stoke's response was impressive. A series of chances missed. One sequence saw Jonas Larsson's goal under siege. It took goal line technology to deny Choupo-Moting by millimetres. Stoke's cause harmed by injury to Ryan Shawcross. He limped off. Stoke limp on. Huddersfield ahead.
Yeah, Stoke City very unlucky. At the Vitality, it all kicked off, Tony Husband.
Certainly did. Bournemouth 1, West Ham 1. A point and a place between these two sides. They have gone toe-to-toe in driving rain. A super first half, full of incidents here. James Collins' fine header put West Ham into an early lead. That was an advantage almost doubled by Andre Ayew soon after. But Bournemouth have swept forward as well. And twice Josh King could have and really should have scored before Dan Gosling fired in an equaliser after a free kick wasn't cleared. King was involved in an off-the-ball incident with Ogbonna. The referee didn't see that one. He did see Simon Francis's high boot on Czech Kouyaté. The Bournemouth skipper got a yellow card for that one. Half-time, 1-1.
And it's half-time at Vicarage Road. Mike Williams.
Cracking first half of action here in Hertfordshire. Action at both ends. Leicester took a deserved lead through a rare Riyad Mahrez header from a peach of a Mark Albrighton cross. That after Jamie Vardy should have put the visitors ahead earlier when he hit the side netting when one-on-one with Gomez. Watford rallied towards the end of the half. Richarlison hit the side netting when he should have done better. Just before the break, though, they did equalise and capitalised on confusion in the Leicester ranks. From a corner, Wes Morgan, the Leicester captain, all at sea, allowing the unheralded Mola Wagyu, who was just a mark, to tap home past Schmeichel. He is making his first Premier League start today. He only has 45 minutes of Premier League football to his name before today, but the man from Mali has brought the home side level here. Looking forward to the second half in this one. It's 1-1.
Mike Williams is doing a magnificent job. Get that man a half-time cup of tea. Let's go to Ashton Gate in the Championship. Hamish Marshall.
Bristol City 0, Reading 0. The home side marginally on top, but little in the way of chances. One apiece. Both should have done better. City's Matty Taylor heading over from 10 yards, while Reading's Mo Barrow couldn't find the target when free, 15 yards out. Goalless at the break.
And to the Riverside, new manager, Derm Tanner.
Well, I'm not the new manager, but Tony Pulis is. Watching from the stands, I think he's going to be fairly happy with what he's seen. Middlesbrough have had plenty of possession. They've shifted the ball well. Stuart Downing has been the standout player. Much of the chances for Assombalonga, Braithwaite and others have started from Borough's number 19. Bolton have been solid at the back. They've only really had a couple of half chances. Little wonder at half-time it's Middlesbrough 0, Bolton 0.
And who needs Carlos Carvajal now, Prem G?
Yes, who indeed? Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Life after Carlos, looking great for the visitors who lead here thanks to Adam Reach and a Jordan Rhodes penalty. Reach with a long-range effort which flew into the corner, and Rhodes with a cool spot kick after Fox was fouled in the box. Forest have had their moments though, Jason. They've missed two sitters, Ben Brereton and Barry Mackay, the guilty parties. At the break, it's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
So, Wednesday in front, so too United, Sue Smith.
They are. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0. Very good first half for Sheffield United. They've controlled this game. Mark Duffy in the middle of the park. He has been the best player on the pitch. John Lundstrom's goal was a cool, calm finish to give his team the lead after good work again from Duffy. Sunderland are very defensive. They got 5 at the back, and James Vaughan, the centre forward, is so isolated up top. He's had very little service, and if they're going to get back into this game, they need to commit players forward. Half-time, Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0.
And it's half-time at the Pirelli Stadium. Lindsay Hooper.
Yes, Burton 1, Leeds 0, and Thomas Christensen's done plenty of wincing in the Leeds dugout. It's not just because of the cold weather. His team looked very sloppy in defence. They were at fault when Burton made the breakthrough. Akins and Sordell in the build-up had plenty of space, and a low strike went across the box. It was heading for the bottom corner by the looks of it, but Naylor made sure by poking the ball home. Burton going for 3 straight wins, and at half-time they're on course, leading 1-0.
Yep, and they are now 5th from bottom. Let's go to Adam Cottier. It's looking bleak at St Andrews.
Yes, Birmingham 0, Norwich 1. Alex Pritchard's goal was a clever one, straight from the training ground. James Madison's free kick in the right channel just rolled forward, and Pritchard just evaded his marker, and first time he slammed the ball past David Stockdale in the Birmingham goal. Birmingham have by no means played badly. They've had their moments. Jonathan Grounds' left foot shot bound for the top corner was their best opportunity, but Angus Gunn made the save. Norwich have that extra bit of quality, and that's why they lead. Birmingham 0, Norwich 1.
Not much to shout about at Portman Road, Mark Webber.
Let me save you some time, Jason, and tell you how this game will go in the second half. A single goal will settle it, and it'll be from a set piece. Neither side has been threatening in free play in the first half, been a bit dull. When the Ipswich fans start shouting, shoot, 38 minutes in, at a player that's about 38 yards out, you know it's not a thriller. Ipswich Town 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0.
It's a Boxing Day thriller for Mark Webber. Let's go to Oakwell. Half-time, Richard Askham.
Yeah, not much to talk about here, Jason. Either no goals, competitive and feisty, but it's been intriguing rather than edge of your seat stuff. Preston with Gallagher and Pearson at the heart of it have had more control. Top scorer Jordan Hugill hit a post for Alex Neil's men, but equally Barnsley have at times created real problems for the North End defence on the break. Lloyd Isgrove has been a tricky, pacey threat, but it is 0-0 at the break.
OK, let's bring you right up to date then with what's happening in League One. Half-time whistles being blown around the country. Blackburn Rovers promotion push going well again this afternoon. 2-0 up against Rochdale. Bradley Dack getting his 10th goal of the season. Scunthorpe United, also promotion contenders. They're also leading. They scored twice in the opening 8 minutes of Blackpool through Tom Hopper and Dwayne Holmes. Peterborough United aiming for a 4th win on the spin. Goals from Danny Lloyd and Jack Marriott have put them in the driving seat at Bradford City. Plymouth Argyle lead fellow strugglers MK Dons 1-0. Gary Sawyer scoring in the 16th minute for the visitors. The big game of the day, though, at the DW Stadium. Andy Giddings.
Well, it's Wigan 0, Shrewsbury 0 at half-time. The league leaders very much in control of this tie as a contest, just not on the score sheet. Will Grigg, the Northern Ireland international, unlucky not to add to the 7 goals he's got in the last 6 matches as he stooped to meet across from the right-hand side. His header from an acute angle cannoned agonisingly off the crossbar. He also flashed a shot from 12 yards out into the side netting. And not bad for a big man at 6'6". Defender Dan Byrne showed a deft touch meeting across from the right-hand side, but ultimately he brought the best out of goalkeeper Dean Henderson. And right towards the end of the half, Michael Jacobs careered into the penalty box. He was brought down. The referee had a good long look to decide whether it was a free kick at all, inside or outside of the penalty area. He ultimately did nothing. There were boos from the Wigan crowd for that decision as the half-time whistle blew, but the performance overall has been strong from the league leaders, and it's 0-0 against second-place Shrewsbury.
And into League Two, our featured game is at the County Ground. Lawrence Herdman.
Swindon 0, Luton 0. Luton looking to extend their lead at the top with the game's 2 outstanding chances, though. Early on, fullback Dan Potts blazing over captain Alan Sheehan's free kick from just 6 yards out, and James Collins with an audacious lob fully 45 yards out. Lawrence Vigarou backpedaling in the Swindon goal, palming over. Swindon, though, lively on the break. They're just outside the playoffs, and Kane Woolery with one lightning quick run and cross, inches too far in front of Keshi Anderson. 0-0.
Thank you, Lawrence. Well, Carlisle United lead Accrington. Crewe Alexandra 2-up at Chesterfield in a crucial game at the bottom. Chris Porter's 10th of the season, a Charlie Kirk strike separating the sides. In-form Notts County lead Morecambe. George Grant has been among their scorers again. 15 goals now this season for the Forest Loney. Wycombe Wanderers lead Newport County. Nathan Tyson's goal has them sitting relatively comfortably at the break. And just the one game in the Scottish Premiership today, Celtic beating Dundee by 2-0. And remember all the goals from Boxing Day on Match of the Day tonight. Gary Lineker, Danny Murphy and Kevin Kilbane. That's 10:45 back on BBC One. And the FA Cup third round is just 10 days away.
FA Cup round 3. Best be bringing your A game if you plan to stay. Because now it's time for the big guns to enter the fray. And reputations, past glories hold no meaning. Anything can happen when there's old rivals meeting. Speculations made may torture teams, but these giant killers come to destroy your dreams. This could be yours for the taking. There's pride to be won. It's winner stays on. A weekend of live FA Cup football starts with Liverpool-Everton Friday the 5th of January, 7:30, BBC One.
Oh, we're looking forward to that. Liverpool-Everton, what a game in the FA Cup third round. But Middlesbrough have Sunderland in the FA Cup third round. And your reaction to the news that broke this morning, that Tony Pulis is the man at the Riverside?
I didn't quite realise Middlesbrough were in a relegation battle. But no, I don't think they are. But all I'm saying is Tony Pulis, experienced Premier League manager. They've got a Premier League manager now of Middlesbrough. And... you know, for me, it's a good appointment. It really is.
Yeah. You were joking, of course.
I was joking, of course. Yeah, because Tony Pulis, you know, keep up.
Yes. No, I got it.
Tony Pulis
just in case people are thinking...
No, he's normally renowned for keeping teams in the Premier League very well at Crystal Palace. Never been relegated as a manager in the Premier League, I believe. But Middlesbrough have got themselves a vastly experienced boss in hand now.
Well, they're only 9th, and they are only 3 points off the playoffs as well. There is a scenario, isn't there, Leon, that Tony Pulis may take Middlesbrough up via the playoffs and West Bromwich Albion under Alan Pardew or someone else come down.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare for West Brom fans. And, you know, it would be, well, absolutely fantastic for Middlesbrough fans. But, you know, I think they've done well to get a Premier League experienced manager in through the doors. He's, in relative terms, stepped down into the Championship to take a job. For me, it's one thing keeping a team up every single year and getting used to winning a game every 3 or just enough to keep your team in the league. He's now got to change his mentality to winning pretty much every single week to get a team promoted. And it's about 10 years since he last did that.
I think they got a decent squad though, Middlesbrough. And
they have.
Gary Monk spent a few quid there. Yeah. So I think they should be there or thereabouts the playoffs, I would think.
John, just want to ask you about Gary Monk, because someone that you know very well because of his time at Swansea City. There was a time when people were saying, especially when he was doing very well at the Liberty Stadium, that Gary Monk could possibly be a future England manager. Has had a lot of clubs since leaving the Liberty Stadium.
Well, he's had 2.
Yeah, high-profile clubs as well.
Yeah,
and it's not worked out for him.
He went to Leeds and just missed out on the playoffs. Did a very good job at Leeds.
Yeah.
But he walked away from Leeds because the Middlesbrough job came up. He obviously saw the Middlesbrough job as, I don't know, maybe a better opportunity to take a club up. I don't know if he's having problems at Leeds with the board. I don't know.
Got very close, didn't he? They just ran out of steam last season.
I was surprised that he was sacked at Swansea, because he did a fantastic job initially. Then he had a really, really good season. And I think they went 10, 11 games without winning. And I think Swansea, because of his lack of experience, they decided to change it and get somebody with a bit more experience in, which they didn't do.
Well, I'll bet given the opportunity again to have left him in charge, I think they wish they had done, because they've been on a real downward spiral ever since Swansea. And, you know, they've now got Leon Britton at the helm, and they're hoping that he can, you know, maybe do something right now, keep them turning around. But, you know, it all started when Gary Monk was moved on.
Is there a scenario that he could go back?
I think it's an opportunity. Gary is out of a job now. Swansea are looking for a manager. They've had him before. He was very successful the last time he was there for a period. If they're looking to bring on Leon Britton as part of the staff, Gary and Leon are very, very close. They were as players, played together for a number of years. That could be a possibility. Of course, Gary to go in and Leon to work under him. That would be the natural progression, I would think, unless Swansea are thinking down a different road. I don't know.
Leon, do you think he'd be the perfect fit? Someone who knows the club so well, knows Swansea City, knows the fabric, and especially Leon Britton. They played in the same side, didn't they? So they all know each other.
Well, I think if you're looking at who they're also being linked with, who they may be thinking about getting in, I think out of all of them people, Gary Monk could potentially hit the ground running faster than anyone else.
That's if, of course, he wants to go back to Swansea. He might have something from Middlesbrough elsewhere.
Of course. Right, we're back underway, and there's been a goal at Stamford Bridge. Chris Wise.
Inside the first 60 seconds for Chelsea, they lead Brighton 1-0. Morata's got it, returning to the side. But the ball from Azpilicueta is absolutely sensational. Right side, whipped in, perfect height, perfect pace. It's a stunning delivery, and all Morata had to do was guide the ball into the bottom corner. It's still a very cool finish, but it's about the ball from Azpilicueta. Great start to the second half for Chelsea, lead 1-0.
There's only one person who can talk about the quality of that ball, and that is you, John. You'd love that, wouldn't you?
It's all about the quality of the ball. All Morata's done, he's pulled off onto the defender's shoulder. He's timed his run. The ball is perfect. That sort of in-swinger. He's got onto it and he's just directed the header. It's a brilliant header. I'm a huge fan of Morata.
I watched Chelsea against Everton last week, and they got in that situation, Azpilicueta and Moses down the wide areas, and they were putting balls in every couple of minutes, and there was no one in that 6-yard box to finish it off. First time it's happened again. The ball comes into the box, Morata's there, and Chelsea are desperate to have a main centre forward right in the middle of the 6-yard box, and that's how they score a goal.
First thing you do in there, you go in to say thank you for that cross. Martin O'Neill used to say to the wingers at Celtic, to the likes of Stevie Guppy, Alan Thompson, you make my centre forward a goal today. That is your job. Not to cut in on your wrong foot and score and shoot from 35 yards. You get one of them a career. Make sure you, as a winger, make my strikers goals. That's their job to do that, and that's brilliant ball in.
And what would Martin tell you? Put your head on it.
Stick your head on it, of course. Of course.
Right, let's go to Old Trafford. Damien Johnson.
Well, Jose Mourinho has rung the changes here. A couple of half-time substitutions. Jesse Lingard is on, and also Mkhitaryan off the bench. Rocco and Ibrahimovic have come off. No early response yet. A drilled effort from Pogba just over the bar, but they still trail by 2-0.
So, Leon, double substitution here then from Jose Mourinho. No mucking about.
No, I think, you know, to have lost the first half 2-0 at home at Old Trafford for the United fans, for Jose Mourinho, it's not acceptable. And then, you know, he needed to do something drastic fast, and, you know, he'll hope that gives them the emphasis, the kick on, and get the fans right behind him, and they'll get an instant reaction.
Well, he had to do something, didn't he?
He had to do something, and Rocco and Ibrahimovic are both gone off. So they've got to get on the front foot, Man United. They've got to try and play in Burnley's half, but you can see a Burnley, you've got to throw in almost inside the Man United box. It's going to come in and United need to get hold of this game.
OK, we'll go back to Old Trafford very, very shortly, but a goal in the Football League in League Two at the County Ground. Lawrence Herdman.
Swindon 0, Luton Town 1, no stopping the leaders. An absolutely stunning goal from centre forward James Collins. Ran across the face of the penalty area and a curling shot into the top corner against his former club. Swindon 0, Luton 1.
54 goals now then for Luton Town this season. Back to Stamford Bridge, Chris Wise.
Chelsea in the groove, nearly had a second. Bakayoko picking the ball up, first touch delightful edge of the penalty area. Second, laid off to the on-rushing Hazard on his right foot. Just tried to bend it into the bottom left-hand corner of Matt Ryan's net, about a yard or so wide. A sniff away from a second.
Seeing as we are at Chelsea, let's stay in London in the Premier League early game. Spurs beat Southampton very easily by 5-2, but that wasn't the full story. Let's hear from Mauricio Pochettino.
Yes, he's a very talented player. He's a striker that is not only a finisher into the box. He can score from free kick, outside of the box, header, left, right. He's a very complete striker. He's one of the best.
Does Lionel Messi have your number? He'll probably be trying to get a Harry Kane shirt off you.
I think Lionel is in Argentina. Enjoy the weather in Argentina, and I don't believe that I was watching the game.
Importantly, though, it's another win. It's another 3 points, and because the top four is going to be really tight this year, we can see that. And you've had a slightly dodgy run, which you now come out of, and you're playing well again.
Yes, I think it's so important for us. The last 5-6 games we played so well. It's true, disappointed with Manchester City because we don't play and we don't deserve this result. But it's true that it was tough for us. But I think the team was together, believing in our way, and yes, we are happy. We are fighting there. We are in a good position. Now we try to enjoy the end of the year, and of course hope for the next season. Try to win every game, and for everyone be happy and healthy.
Well, I'm so glad Mauricio Pochettino used the words happy and healthy, because that's the one thing he does look. He looks happy, doesn't he, after their pretty tricky run?
He does, and he was so relaxed in that interview, smiling all the way through it. And it hasn't been the case in the last 6 weeks. His team's gone through a tricky spell. They've come out of it now, just in time for the hectic Christmas period. And he's got all of his players, Ali, Son, Harry Kane, scoring goals again, so he'll be delighted.
Winning games as well creates good team spirit. You know, it's all about winning, especially at the top end of the table where Pochettino, that's 8 goals they've scored in their last 2 games. And before the weekend against Burnley, Spurs had only picked up 1 point in their previous 5 away games. So that's them back on track now, firmly
absolutely.
on track.
We'll talk about Southampton in just a moment after we get a goal update from the Championship. I think there's another goal at the Riverside, Derm Tanner.
It's the only goal so far at the Riverside, and it's a hello Tony Pulis time, because Braithwaite has scored the first one in his new era, straight onto a through ball 4 minutes after the restart, and Middlesbrough lead Bolton by a goal to 0.
All right, let's go back to Old Trafford. Damien Johnson.
A glaring miss for Manchester United. It was Jesse Lingard, so profligate against Leicester last weekend. He had a gaping goal. The ball came in from the right-hand side. Somehow, he managed to hit the bar, and Burnley still lead 2-0.
How did that stay out, Leon?
I'm not sure if Pope's managed to get something on it and keep it out. It's a fantastic ball into the box in between the keeper and the defence. Lingard's run onto it. Has he hit it onto the goalkeeper? I think maybe he has. If not, it's come up off his heel and from 3 yards out, it's managed to go onto the bar, and Burnley ride their luck. Scunthorpe United now lead Blackpool by 3-1. Hakeem Adelakun on 46 minutes, and Wimbledon are level in League 1 to Lyle Taylor with a penalty on 50 minutes. 1-1 there. Back to the Hawthorns. Robin Cowan, any changes?
When Matt Phillips is into the penalty areas, stood one up to the back post, and Livermore a little bit too over the head of Jake Livermore's coming at the back post. Good start by West Brom, although they have suffered an injury blow. Solomon Rondon, he slipped as he took a shot from the angle, and he's hurt himself in doing so. He was holding the back of his thigh. He's had to come off, and Hal Robson-Kanu is on, still 0-0.
And to the Vitality Stadium, Tony Husband.
We're 6 minutes into the second half here, still 1-1. Best chance of this second period just a moment or so ago. Bournemouth attacking on the left-hand side, and Josh King in the penalty area just squaring it for Callum Wilson, who's on the edge of the box, and his right-footed shot just wide. 1-1.
Free kick at Stamford Bridge. Chris Wise.
Sutton over it for Brighton, straight into the wall. Wasted opportunity, really, for the visitors. Might have a second chance to cross. And then the shot towards goal is from Pröpper, and it's straight at goalkeeper Courtois. Rare chances for Brighton to try and penetrate this Chelsea backline.
Any changes at the John Smith Stadium, Ivan Gaskell?
No changes in personnel or indeed the scoreline, though. Stoke were off to an uncertain start just a couple of minutes after the break. Steve Mounier with a bicycle kick, inches over the crossbar. If Stoke were to go two behind here, I think you'd fear for them in this game. But at the other end, Shaqiri curling one, a left footer over the angle of post and bar. It remains a buoyant Boxing Day atmosphere and a bright game.
And here come Leicester City again, Mike Williams.
Mahrez and Vardy linking up well. I've got Okazaki as well. Mahrez decides to go it alone, and here's Ndidi with a follow-up, but that one is blocked by Kabasele on the slide. And Leicester starting this second half like they started the first here at Vicarage Road. On top, it remains all square, though. No changes here at the start of this second half. Just the one so far. That curious one 1 minute before half-time by Marco Silva, when he took Pereira off, who didn't seem to be injured. He went and sat on the bench and replaced him with Okaka. 1-1.
And there has been a change at Old Trafford. Damien Johnson.
United are back in this. A really clever goal from Jesse Lingard, who was so wasteful in front of goal a moment ago. A ball in from Ashley Young on the right-hand side, and a little back heel from Lingard evaded Pope's desperate lunge. And United are back in the game. It's 2-1 Burnley.
Cheeky finish, John, from Jesse Lingard.
Very cheeky, yeah, but making up for the miss that he just had a couple of minutes prior to that. Saying that, Nick Pope is a brilliant save, but an immediate impact from the substitutions, and Burnley are not done and dusted yet.
He'll be happy now, Lingard. He's just missed a glaring opportunity. Good save by Pope, hit him in the face, but he should have scored. And you know, United are now back up and running, and the changes have worked for Jose Mourinho.
Into League Two, another goal at the county ground. Lawrence Herdman.
Where Luton have doubled their lead, and it's the scorer this time, Danny Hilton, the club's top scorer. It was a run down the left-hand side by Dan Potts, fine cross, and a near-post header by Hilton. It's Swindon 0, Luton 2.
In the 1 o'clock kickoff in the Championship, Millwall 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Good chance for Cardiff City to close the gap. Carl Roberts.
Well, they haven't managed to do that yet, Jason. They're a goal down against Fulham as a shot comes in from Fulham. Fantastic opportunity, good save from the Cardiff goalkeeper Etheridge. And with that lead, Fulham are now playing on the counter-attack. I'm not sure whether Cardiff manager Neil Warnock has given his side the hairdryer treatment at half-time, but Warnock is going to need a hairdryer after this. He's been stood in the rain for 53 minutes now. He's soaking wet. 1-0 Fulham.
I bet he is. Fleetwood Town 1-0 up at Oldham. Devante Cole with the goal on 50 minutes. To Ashton Gate, Hamish Marshall.
53.5 minutes played. Bristol City 0, Reading 0. Reading, though, living a charmed life. Strong Bristol City appeals for a penalty. Bobby Reid through in the area, looked as if he was pushed. Referee waved play on, and then coming in just a second ago, Matt Taylor 6 yards out, thought he got the shot away. It was blocked. Bristol City have got a corner, turning the screw, but no goals.
We need to get to Chris Wise very quickly.
Chelsea leading 1-0, and they have a free kick 10 yards outside Brighton's penalty area. And Marcus Alonso, one of two players, stood over it. Alonso scored here in the league very recently against Southampton to secure that 1-0 win. He's a real specialist from a range such as this. It is Alonso. Oh, Ryan diving to his left to turn it away. He had his angles covered, the Australian. Still had to leap up to his left-hand side to get a hand to it, and it's away for a Chelsea corner.
Fabulous save. Back to the KCOM Stadium in the Championship. Peter Slater.
Well, it's still goalless, and Hull have still had the best opportunities. John Terrell missed one in the first half. He's missed one in the second half at the end of a good move. Should have tested the goalkeeper, put the ball over the crossbar, and then set up Nuadiko with a back heel, which went just wide. And Derby making a substitution. Tom Lawrence is coming on. Bradley Johnson's going off. He might give them that creative spark that they need. It's still 0-0 here, though.
So Derby County can't capitalise on Cardiff City losing at home to Fulham. And Sheffield United look like they're back to winning ways, Sue Smith.
Yes, so they've actually just scored again, just as you come to me. I was just going to say that they've been absolutely fantastic in this second half, looking to get the second goal. And it was a great delivery in. And I think it was Richard Stearman that put the ball in. He was at the far corner, came in, header, right past Robin Reuter in the Sunderland goals. That's Sheffield United 2, Sunderland 0.
And remember, no win for Sheffield United in their last 6 games. Let's go to the Pirelli Stadium. Lindsay Hooper.
Burton 1, Leeds 0, and I have to say Burton Albion, they're so difficult to break down. Leeds finding that here this afternoon. They don't have much possession, but with the 1-goal advantage they've got through Naylor, it plays right into Nigel Clough's hands, and they are being very resolute today. Burton Albion 1, Leeds United 0.
6-6 now for Sammy Smodics, who has scored Colchester United's second goal at Crawley. That is in League 2. To the City Ground, Naz Premji.
Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. The visitors doing a fair bit of defending. Forest have come out with a purpose, trying to get back into the game. Remember, it's life after Carlos Carvajal for the visitors, and so far, so good. Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
Another goal in the Premier League at the Vitality Stadium. Tony Husband.
Bournemouth have turned this one round. They now lead 2-1 from a corner. Lewis Cook has swung a ball in low into the penalty area, and somehow it's got through a sea of legs before Nathan Ake, the Bournemouth defender, has got on the end of it and he's put it in. I think you might have to point the finger at James Collins again. He probably should have been the West Ham defender to clear it, but it all came all the way through to Ake, and it's 2-1 Bournemouth.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it is James Collins who should have cleared the ball. Goal at Stamford Bridge, Chris Wise.
Second for Chelsea, Marcos Alonso's got it, and 6 straight Stamford Bridge League wins on the way for Chelsea. A corner from Fabregas from the left side, in towards the near post. Alonso attacking it, was given far too much room. It's still an expert header beyond Ryan, took it across his goal into the bottom left-hand corner. Conte doesn't look happy, but his side are heading for 3 points, 2-0.
Into the Championship, goal at Cardiff City, Carl Roberts.
And it's gone to Fulham. They lead by 2-0. I mentioned they were playing on the counter-attack, and that's how the goal came. An attack down the left, and a fantastic shot comes in. And Cardiff have pulled one back. Kenneth Zohore with a 25-yard left-footed volley. It's 2-1. Aite got Fulham's second goal, but Zohore's pulled one back.
Thank you very much indeed, Carl. Well, let's talk about, first of all, that goal for Nathan Ake. He was someone that we talked about at the start of the programme.
Yeah, it's a good finish from Nathan Ake. The ball's come in from the left-hand side, but it's coming for someone who's whipped it in swinger, and he's finished it like a striker with his left foot. He's beat the offside trap. It's poor defending, but you know, if you're Eddie Howe and you've got a centre half that can get you 3 or 4 goals a season, like Nathan Ake is doing, then, you know, you're in business.
But defensively, David Moyes will be furious.
Yeah, he will be.
And let's go to the John Smith Stadium. This is a huge goal at the bottom of the table, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, it is. Stoke City are back in this one. They've levelled it through Ramadan Sobhi sliding in a low cross across the face of the Huddersfield goal. I think it was Joe Allen on the left-hand side there. Sobhi's just been booked, I think, for his over-exuberant celebrations, but that goal meant so much to Stoke. They could have gone 2 behind on several occasions in this second half, but now they're back in it. It's a good game, and it's all square.
Yeah, it is. And that's really interesting. And we're at such a fascinating turning point in the season, aren't we? Because you look at what those goals have done to the bottom of the table. Suddenly, Bournemouth are up to 14th, Stoke City are in 15th, and West Ham United are back in the bottom 3, Leo.
Things can change around so quickly. And
Amazing.
just in the space of that game, Huddersfield could have been out of sight. Stoke back into it. It's great play from Joe Allen. Plays the ball into his striker, rolls around him, fires it into that uncertain area, and it's a tapping at the back post, and you know, Stoke are delighted to be back into this game.
Another goal in the Championship. What has happened in those half-time tea talks? Let's go to Bramall Lane. Sue Smith.
It's Sheffield United 3, Sunderland 0, and it's the right wing-back, George Baldock. It's a fantastic run down the right-hand side. It was a good delivery from the left-hand side. He just came in at the far post and headed it past the goalkeeper, Robin Reuter. Sheffield United 3, Sunderland 0.
And Sunderland, third from bottom once again to the Pirelli Stadium. Goal there, Lindsay Hooper.
Leeds have pulled one back. It's Burton 1, Leeds 1, and it's Hernandez who has just scored a beautiful free kick. 22 yards out, and you did think it was going to have to be a set piece to beat Burton Albion, who were looking so brilliant in defence, but that they did. And it was a double blow for them because in the build-up, Stephen Bywater, the Burton goalkeeper, also got a yellow card. Burton 1, Leeds 1.
Leeds United won 4 of their last 5. Back to the Premier League, to the Vitality. Tony Husband.
Well, David Moyes has made a big change here, a double substitution, and he's thrown on Andy Carroll and Javier Hernandez, Chicharito on the back of his shirt. So the double change, Obiang and Ayew come off as West Ham with half an hour to go try and get level in this game.
So David Moyes going for it, and Jose Mourinho has gone for it, Damien Johnson.
Yeah, his half-time substitutions have worked, because one of them, Jesse Lingard, has pulled a goal back after Burnley led 2-0 at half-time. United really going for it now. Lukaku misplaced a header just a moment ago. All the pressure is at the Burnley end. The crowd have woken up finally, because they were lacklustre in the first half. The team have responded. 2-1 they trail, though.
Kevin Nolan's Notts County keeping up the pressure on Luton Town. George Grant has got another goal this afternoon in League Two. They lead by 3-0. Back to the Hawthorns, Robin Cowan.
Still 0-0. A game pretty low on quality. You suspect perhaps a mistake or a set piece will break the deadlock here. A double substitution by Sam Allardyce. Yannick Bolasie, his race is run. A first appearance from him for the first time in over a year. He's off. So is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Oumar Niasse and Aaron Lennon are on for Everton. It's still 0-0.
What do Leicester City's players want, Mike Williams? They seem to be asking the referee for something.
Well, they are on the far side of me now. Riyad Mahrez, yes, as you say, speaking to Chris Kavanagh, they are protesting against the award of a Watford free kick. Alexander Dragovic on his debut just fouling Richarlison, and the referee awarding Watford a free kick in a dangerous position if the Brazilian can whip this one in. This match is really end-to-end, Jason. You could not call a winner. It's finely poised, obviously, as the score dictates, and we'll just see what Richarlison does here. He has been by far and away Watford's best player this afternoon. Lively up front, waspish amongst the Leicester defenders, as he has been all season, but Leicester on the break as ever through the likes of Mahrez, Vardy and Okazaki look dangerous. Here comes Richarlison, then we're waiting for the referee's whistle. It goes now. Richarlison looking to not whip it in. He plays it across the ground. Akaka now trying to hook it in. It comes to nothing in the end, but this one finally poised and really entertaining, Jason.
Thank you very much indeed to Chris Wise at Stamford Bridge.
2-0 Chelsea lead, 2 Spaniards, 2 headers, and all rather comfortable now for the hosts, who have taken command in this second half. Brighton are going to have to be a little bit braver, and just as I speak, they have a half opportunity with Hemed, who was chucking himself towards that near post, and it was blocked, so it's gone behind for a Brighton corner. Little more positive from Chris Hughton's side, who need a route back into this now.
What a save at the Vitality, Tony Husband.
Big save made by the West Ham goalkeeper, Adrian. It denied Dan Gosling his second of the game. Bournemouth broke. A lovely, well-worked move down the right-hand side. Finally set up for Gosling. His shot tipped away for a corner. Another corner coming. Probably not easy to see on the TV pictures. The conditions here, absolutely atrocious. The wind and rain really blowing in. Bournemouth with another corner.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. Are Leeds United in front, Lindsay Hooper?
They are. Are they going to go 6 games unbeaten in the Championship? Burton Albion won. They were leading, but now Leeds United 2. An early ball played through the middle, and it found Roof onside. There were question marks, but it did look like it was onside from here, and he was very calm in his finish. 7th league goal in the season, and you do wonder whether the Burton heads had dropped there. Burton Albion 1, Leeds 2.
Goal at Vicarage Road, Mike Williams.
Well, we already had one incident this afternoon, didn't we, at another match where goal line technology was used. It's been used again here at Vicarage Road, and it has been given. Abdoulaye Doucouré, Watford's top scorer, the Frenchman, looks to have prodded it in from another set piece. Everyone in the ground looked to the referee. The referee himself looked to his watch, which must have buzzed. We're just watching the replay now. Doucouré it is on the line, who just seemingly passes it under Schmeichel. We were looking there to see if the goal had been given. Just looking again, Schmeichel tries to keep it out. It's scooped out from under the net, I think, by Chilwell, but it did go over the line fully. Yes, we're seeing it now. The ball clearly over the line. Chilwell desperately sliding in, hooks it out eventually, but the ball fully over the line. The referee got the buzz on his wrist, and the goal is given. So Watford come from behind to lead here, 2-1.
Well, Leon, we thought that Stoke City had scored in their game today, and that we needed the goal decision system, but no problem there whatsoever.
No, I mean, it's just great to see it work. And again, it was just over the line. I don't know if you could criticise the referee if it wasn't given in that one. Schmeichel nearly made a save, but turns out it was a goal and Watford are pleased.
All right, OK. Luton Town 3-0 up then against Swindon Town. Let's get the details of that goal from Lawrence Herdman.
And Swindon in total disarray here, Jason. The latest goal, James Collins, who's been excellent away down the right-hand side. Too much pace for the Swindon defence, and his cross was turned into his own net by veteran Matty Taylor, the former Portsmouth player. It's Swindon 0, leaders Luton 3.
Doncaster Rovers now 3-0 up at home to Northampton. Goal at the City Ground in the Championship. Naz Premji.
I don't believe it. Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3. This is a lovely goal from Lucas João. Adam Reach with great build-up play. João into the box. He took one touch and blasted it past Smith. And Carlos Carvajal is a distant memory for Wednesday fans. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3.
Barnet struggling and they're 1-0 down against Cambridge United. George Maris with the goal on 62 minutes. Back to Stamford Bridge. Good game, Chris Wise.
Very good game, but only if you're a Chelsea fan, because Brighton are really up against it now. They're trailing 2-0. They're fortunate not to be 3 or 4 down. Eden Hazard is omnipresent. He's running the show. He's just played a 1-2 with Kante. Took a little too long, perhaps, in the penalty area before eventually getting his shot away, allowing Lewis Dunk to get back. It was still a fabulous clearance off the line. Chelsea just peppering that Brighton penalty area.
Another chance for Bournemouth, Tony Husband.
Yeah, and what a phase of this game this is between these two sides, right next to each other in the table, remember. And Bournemouth trying to get this third goal that you would think would get them the 3 points. This time, Ibe shot saved by Adrian. Still 2-1 Bournemouth.
What is Jack Cork moaning about, Damien Johnson?
Well, it's getting rather niggly. There are little battles going on all over the pitch, actually. Burnley are actually going to go for it. They've got 2 strikers on. Defoe, the spectacular scorer of the second Burnley goal, has gone off. Vokes is on. It's a 2-man front line for Burnley as they continue to try and hold on to this 2-1 lead.
Yeah, we'll come back to you if anything happens. In the meantime, John, you want to talk about West Ham United and what David Moyes has done?
Yeah, well, at this moment in time, the 2 front men that West Ham have are Carroll and Chicharito. They're playing now this way. They both come on from the bench. If I was David Moyes, I'd be thinking, perfect combination. The big one, small one, Chicharito, we know how sharp he is. Andy Carroll, massively a presence, great in the air, attacking crosses. Why aren't they on the training ground working with them two? And I think if he was to stick to that partnership, there's definitely goals between them two.
Do you know what I don't know? I don't know if midfielders know how to win second balls anymore. To play that way, the ball goes long, your little fella tries to get off a big man. But if you don't win the ball, the midfielders need to be up behind it. But everyone's so concerned with coming short, playing the perfect football, that the art of winning second balls as a midfield is going out of fashion. And I think that's what he would need to do if he's going to start using them two as a pairing.
OK, there's been another goal at the Riverside Stadium. This time there has been another goal, Durham Tanner.
There has, and this time it is another one for Middlesbrough. Yes, the Tony Pulis era is on liftoff. Braithwaite this time a header to Asumbalunga, and the leading goal scorer does the rest. Inside the box, shimmy onto his right, too strong for poor old Anik in goal. It's Middlesbrough 2, Bolton 0.
How amazing is that, Leon? Sheffield Wednesday leading, lost their manager on Saturday. Middlesbrough lost their manager Saturday, leading.
Maybe that's the way forward, you know.
Always seems to
play
happen
without managers.
Isn't it incredible? You get some sort of bounce, don't you?
More often than not, Alan Pardew wishes that he had a similar bounce, West Brom, sure. But other than that, it seems to work.
Right, a very quick goal from where are we going? Let's go to Ashton Gate. Hamish Marshall.
Where Bristol City lead Reading by a 1-0, and substitute Jamie Patterson. Spectacular effort from 20 yards after being set up by Bobby Reid. They deserve this. They've been turning the screw. The goal has come. Bristol City 1, Reading 0.
Huge goal at the top of the championship. Right, we're taking a little breather. We're heading to BBC 2. That's BBC 2 because Mary Poppins is on BBC 1. But I'm trust that you will choose us. Bye for now.